What's up? We back. It's your boy Maki Smith. We back. What's some Golden State Warriors news? It's a sad day for Golden State Warriors fans. And shout out my cousins and my brother who live in the Bay Area. They're big Warriors fans. They love Stephencurry. But it's a sad day for Warriors fans. It's a sad day for Stephencurry fans. It's a happy day for Utah Jazz fans. If you're Laurie Markkinen, who just got a 5-year, $238 million deal, shout out to Laurie Markkinen. I'm always going to say, get your bag, get your bag, get your bag. Because at the end of the day, the owner, the NBA, they're all about profit. As you can see, as we're seeing the things take place with regard to TNT right now, and TNT wants to come back, but the NBA wants that Amazon money, wants the streaming deal because at the end of the day, everything is going towards streaming. They feel like people don't watch cable TV anymore. So that's when we talk about loyalty. People's like, oh, stay loyal to a franchise, stay loyal to a company. But the minute that company does not see your value, the minute that company does not want to take the necessary steps to help you continue to succeed within that company or that organization, they will do what they have to do. They will make tough decisions because at the end of the day, it's all about protecting the bottom line. But we're not here for any finance talk. We're here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about how, if you're going to say Warriors and you are Stephencurry, if I am Stephencurry, I want a trade immediately. And the reason why I want to trade immediately because of the fact of the matter, they're going to treat Stephencurry just like the Lakers did Kobe Bryant. And when I say that, it's kind of like when you are so enriched with an organization and synonymous with an organization where they feel like, yo, when you think of the Lakers, you think of Kobe. You think of Magic. When you think of the Golden State Warriors, you think of Stephen Curry. And at times, guys do want to spend their careers or they'll come out and they'll say, well, I want to stay my entire career with this organization. I always say that's the worst thing players could possibly do because in your latter years, when you still want to compete, when you still want to win, especially if you're playing at a high level, those organizations will pretend like they're really trying to acquire certain players. They're trying to compete for a championship. But the fact of the matter is they're just using this legacy player, this legacy act to draw more tickets because of their greatness, because they sell out arenas and to continue to have a product on the basketball court that is just good with fans coming to enjoy. And that's what's going to happen with Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Are going to treat Stephen Curry like the Lakers did Kobe Bryant. And people are going to say, well, they gave him his bag just like they gave Kobe Bryant his bag. So it's just like everything should be fair. But when you're Stephen Curry and you're still playing at a high level, Stephen Curry, to me, is still a top 5 player in the game. He's still a top 5 player in the game. He's 36 years old. He's not going to play forever. He's 36. And the reason why you decide not to trade for Laurie Marketing and you have a player that's still an elite caliber player, a superstar, a top 5 player, but you decided not to trade for Laurie Marketing because you wanted to keep Brandon Potts. You wanted to keep Brandon Potts instead of going after and requiring an all-star caliber player that can fit in simultaneously with your organization and with your lineups. The perfect piece, a connector that has all-star caliber talent. That's Laurie Marketing. And for the people that's going to say, well, it wasn't just Brandon. It was Brandon because reports have came out and they're saying that how the Golden State Warriors did not want to give up on Brandon. But you gave you don't want to trade Brandon and Moses Moody for Laurie Marketing, but you decided to trade Jordan Poole for a 38-year-old Chris Paul. Make it make sense. What are we doing as at the top as a war? And it's just so funny because it's like now the Golden State Warriors are basically they're soft launching their rebuild. I feel like everybody knows the Golden State Warriors are doing a rebuild besides Stephen Curry. They say, yeah, Clay, we don't really want to pay you the money. You can go. They said, yeah, Jordan Poole, you're a phenomenal talent and you have value, but you got in a situation with Draymond Green, and Draymond Green's not going anywhere. But we're going to play Draymond Green a 4-year, $100 million contract. We're not going to give Klay Thompson his money. Also, we're going to ship out Jordan Poole as well for Chris Paul. And then Chris Paul, we're going to play this year, and then you're going to cut ties with Chris Paul. So you basically gave up Jordan Poole for nothing. So it's just kind of like, what are we doing? And Brandon is a great young player. He's good. He's solid. He doesn't scream all-star. He doesn't scream not trading a player for another all-star talent. He doesn't scream that talent. If you could get rid of Jordan Poole, who is extremely more talented than Brandon, without a doubt, with no questions asked. I know he struggled with the Washington Wizards, but if you give up Jordan Poole for a 38-year-old, you can't include Potts for a all-star caliber player in Lauri Markkanen, who can play the 3 or the 4, who can score a variety of ways, who can also rebound. So maybe the Golden State Warriors are banking on Potts and Jonathan Kuminga, taking that leap, going to a level that most people can't really fathom or can't really see. I can see the potential with Jonathan Kuminga, but they wasn't even worried about Jonathan Kuminga. They said you could keep Jonathan Kuminga. We want Moody, we want Pod, we want picks. And you couldn't do that. And you still got a top 5 player on your roster in Stephencurry. It makes no sense. And it sucks because you always want to see the great players go out competing at a high level. You love to see Tim Duncan going out competing at a high level. You love to see Michael Jordan go out competing at a high level. We want to see LeBron James going out competing at a high level. But it's unfortunate that the Golden State Warriors, you don't trade for Lauri, and Lauri is a perfect piece for the Golden State Warriors. And you could have kept, not only that, you don't trade for Lauri, and they wanted Potts and Moody in draft picks along the deal. Potts and Moody, they're not your best young player. Your best young player is Jonathan Kuminga. You were going to keep Jonathan Kuminga, so you're still keeping 1 out of the 3, and you keeping the best player out of the 3. But you decided not to trade for Lauri. And Ollie says the Warriors should have traded for, without a question. It is a horrible mistake. And once again, I feel like the Warriors, everybody knows what Stephen Curry right now, that the Warriors are basically doing a rebuild. And they're telling Stephen Curry one thing, and they're showing him another thing. And the reports are going to come out and say that Draymond and Stephen Curry, they're happy with the Warriors and the moves that they're making this season. No, they're not. Because everybody knows the Warriors may not even make the playoffs. Again, like they're in a position right now where you feel like they're not even going to make the playoffs again. And it's just kind of like their talent on their team is, you got Andrew Wiggins that's going to come back, and Jonathan Kuminga is going to be on the team. I think he's going to take a leap or take another step. I don't know if it's going to be that big where he's going to make a difference to allow them to get to the playoffs. But if you had wing players, because you need wings in this league to win, if you had Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Lauri, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, like that's something to get excited about, that you build out the rest of the bench. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense if you're a fan of the Golden State Warriors or you're a fan of Stephen Curry, because it's just like, we have a player right now that's still, to me, a top 5 player in the game, and we won't make the right pieces in order to compete for a championship, even though we just won a championship in 2021. So we still have players on that roster that contribute to that championship in Draymond, in Stephen Curry. But if you're not going to go all out and try to win another championships, then you might as well just let me fly. You might as well just let me go. And I don't know if Stephen Curry, because he's kind of mentioned, he said he wants to continue to compete at a high level. He's going to put himself in a situation that's going to allow that. He did state that. And Stephen Curry normally doesn't make like claims like that in the media, but the fact that he came out and said that lets me know that he is not really comfortable with some of the things and the ways that the Golden State Warriors are running the franchise and the way they're going with trying to prioritize developing the youth. Because let's be honest, if you wanted to prioritize developing the youth, if you want to prioritize keeping the future and making sure that you have great players that can help us win a championship, but also develop the youth as well, you would have kept Jordan Poole and you would have let Draymond Green go. Or you would have kept Jordan Poole and you would have just let the situation be a little awkward or whatever the case may be, because Jordan Poole could have been the successor to Stephen Curry. And not only that, if you were so much thinking about the future, we could take it back further where you could have had LaMelo Ball on your roster. You could have drafted LaMelo Ball instead of Wiseman, who's also not on your roster anymore. So it's just like when we look at the Golden State Warriors, now you want to worry about the future? Now with Brandon Potts? That's the guy? And I don't want it just to be like a Brandon Potts, like I'm, hating on him and basically saying he ain't shit and things of that nature, but because he was first team all rookie last year, and he's going to be the point guard for the Golden State Warriors. They're locked in on him. For a talent standpoint, he does some things that are really, really well. He has some potential, but he doesn't scream all-star caliber player. He doesn't scream like a player where you don't trade another all-star for. If he becomes what Tyler Hero is for the Miami Heat, that would be a great career for Brandon. I don't know if he can even reach that level, to be honest. To me, I think he's a borderline starter, guy that can come off the bench, like an Alex Caruso type of guy, Alex Caruso type of player, maybe better offensively, who knows? But like that is to me his like ceiling. I don't think which is a solid starter in the NBA, but to not trade a potential solid starter for a guy that can help you compete for a championship, it makes no sense. And there's other players that are on the trading block as well that the Golden State Warriors aren't interested in. But the one player that you were interested in, and Stephencurry and Draymond Green wanted you guys to go after and go bring along, and that would have kind of fit your scheme and your system beautifully, you don't go out and make a move for. So now you look at the other players, you don't want Zach LaVine, you don't want Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's another guy that can come in and fit that role and slide him right in that 3 and that 4 position. But you don't want those guys. But you let Lauri Markkanen go because you don't give up Brandon and Moody and some draft picks. And let me tell you something. If you're banking on your future with Moody and Brandon being the guys that's going to lead you to the promised land and kind of retool the Golden State Warriors once Stephen Curry retires and Draymond Green leaves, I got news for you. That is a terrible, terrible future core. And that's what you're banking on. That's just the honest truth. Ollie says, makes no sense to value pods like that when you're trading for an all-star to help out in the stack. What exactly? They're not even going to make the playoffs. Chat, they're not even going to make the playoffs probably next year. The West is stacked. The West is deep. You got Memphis Grizzlies coming back. You got Ja Morant is going to be Ja Morant. He's coming back next year. You got the Kings. They're going to be better. Like you got the Lakers. You got the Clippers may take a step back. You got the Denver Nuggets. You got I'm looking at who else is it. You got the Phoenix Suns. Like it's tough to win in the West, and it's tough especially when you don't have talents. And the thing about it is, everybody knows that the formula right now to succeed in the NBA is 2 all-star caliber players or 2 stars, 2 superstars, whatever you want to call them, and then you fill out the rest of the roster around those guys. The Golden State Warriors have one, what I would consider a superstar or a bona fide all-star. That is Stephen Curry. Most teams have at least a 1A or at least 2 guys that are all-stars and legitimate, like competing for all-star, selections and things of that nature. Like the Golden State Warriors don't have that. The Lakers, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. You got OKC who has Chet, Jalen, but they have SGA. So they got a guy that's here, but they also got guys that can help him. You got the Denver Nuggets with Nikola Jokic, who was here, but you got Jamal Murray, borderline all-star. You got Michael Porter Jr., who's extremely talented. You got the Phoenix Suns. You got Kevin Durant, and you got Devin Booker. So it's just like you got the Sacramento Kings. You got Fox and Sabonis. You got John Morant, Jared Jackson. You got Cat, Anthony Edwards. So you got guys, whether you feel like they are superstars or wherever you want to rank them for their position in the NBA, everybody has guys or a couple guys to help their number one in the Western Conference. The Golden State Warriors have Stephen Curry only. Chat, they got Stephen Curry only. It is going to be a disgrace what they're trying to put this man through this upcoming season. They already did it last year. We don't need Steph Curry out here being a top 5 player, and his team is battling to make the play-in. And I don't even mean like the 7th and 8th play-in seed. I mean like just try to make it in the play-in just to try to say, oh, we had an okay season. We made the play-in tournament. That's not what Stephen Curry is trying to do. That's not what Steph Curry wants right now for the latter portion of his career. And hopefully Stephen Curry gets to the point where he wants to actually try to go into a situation if the Golden State Warriors do not get better. And right now it seems like the Golden State Warriors don't really care to get better because they just want to develop their young talent. But the truth of the matter is only one player out of their core young talent is a player who has all-star caliber potential. And it took Steve Kerr halfway through the year to even play him and to figure that out. They got to a point where Jonathan Kuminga wanted a trade, and he was thinking about getting the help out of there. That's how bad he got. So now you leave Stephen Curry on the island because, yeah, you got Draymond Green. Draymond Green is a defensive anchor for the Golden State Warriors, very important for the success of their franchise, always have been. But he's not no scorer. He's not going to do enough to really make an impact for us like those other guys in the West, or be that second player, that third player that really helped Stephen Curry and help the Golden State Warriors be a threat in the Western Conference. He's not. That's just a fact of the matter. Playmaking ability, defensive anchor, I understand that. But you need guys that can create your own shot, take the pressure off of Stephen Curry, not run Stephen Curry into the ground during the regular season, just trying to compete. And even if they do have even if Pods does his sin or Jonathan Kuminga takes an extraordinary leap, you're still running Stephen Curry into the ground because he's still going to be relied on so heavy to do a lot for your offense, whether that's on the ball or off the ball. And I know Andrew Wiggins is coming back, and that's going to help him. Hopefully he's in the right space mentally based on the things that he's been going through. But at the same time, you really can't bank on Andrew Wiggins being that Andrew Wiggins 3 years ago, where he was the second best player for them in the NBA Finals. I don't think you can really bank on that or rely on that. Like, he can still go out and get you 17, 18 points per game as well. He's that good. He's that talented. But, like, he's always been inconsistent. Jonathan Kuminga is still young. Stephen Curry deserves to have a running mate that where he can truly rely on and say, yo, if I ain't got it going here, you get it going. And Lauri Markkanen was that guy. I believe Zach LaVine can be that guy, but he doesn't really fit the Golden State Warriors offense. I believe Brandon Ingram can be that guy, but he's also very inconsistent as well. And they're like, well, he has a lot of potential still. A guy that's 19, 5 and 5, 25 and 5, shoots at a high clip, also has improved his three-point percentage over the years, and also more, his makes as well, but he doesn't really take a lot. So even that is kind of like a little dicey, but I don't understand that. But I think you got to take a chance. You got to do something to allow Stephen Curry to feel like I'm not going to be wasting my latter years just being a part of the organization due to brand loyalty. So I just want to come on and hop on and talk about Stephen Curry, and hopefully, I know he's a 4-time champion once again, but you always want to see the greats go out on top. or the greats go out having a chance to compete. And if I'm Stephen Curry, I'm 36, not getting any younger. My basketball life is dwindling. I want to be in a position to succeed, to have a chance to compete for a championship. I'm still top 5 in the world. If not, if people don't think he's top 5, top 10 automatically, it's a lock. Still cold. Still can go out and get you 30 at any given night. Give me some help. Or if you're Steph, you chuck up the deuces.